Good evening, my wonderful CA students. I could see that already Pooja, Jyoti, Sushil, Shivani, Khushi, Sakshi, they've all joined. A very good evening to all of you. It's such a pleasure always to, meet the young, vibrant students and especially students wanting to do this beautiful qualification, chartered accountancy. So getting back to work. So you people have been in touch, or I should say by now, all of you must be knowing what accountancy is all about. What is it that we need to study? I think each one of you is now aware about this. Wherein you don't have to learn anything. You just have to apply what you already have. And that is common sense. So that defines this paper, Cost and Management Accounting. A paper, I would first like you to understand, take up a pen and paper, and each one of you should first write down what is the requirement of ICAI as far as this particular topic is concerned. We usually study a topic, but we do not know why are we studying and what is expected from us. So you should have a pen and paper, and wherein you should understand that when I'm studying, it will be my methodology of teaching. I believe that CA Institute has really done a wonderful job as far as the institute material is concerned. And the ICAI papers till intermediate level are nothing beyond what is printed in your study material as far as the explanation part is concerned. But I have uploaded questions from the past year papers, which are not there in your study material. I have uploaded the answers also. Once the topic will be over, I would request all of you to actually look at those questions and try to solve them, and the answers are there. I have tried to not give you any kind of what you can say theory, but I have taken up the repeated questions as far as theoretical background of a topic is concerned. So I have given that also to you in the form of question answer of each topic which I'll be taking. And third, after we teach the topic, there will be some MCQ questions which will be given to you, and you need to solve them and get the right answer. And I'm very sure that if you're able to solve those MCQs, that means you have done justice to the topic as far as the understanding is concerned. So with this, I start off with the first thing, and that is, what is the expectation, or what is it that you should know about employee cost? So I'm sharing the screen with you. And till then, let me see who all have joined. A lot many people have joined. Hello, everybody. Karthik, Midat, Manish, Anusha, Hina, Abhishek, Kore, Karthik, Ria, Vrinda, Sahil, Muhammad, Namrata, Saloni, Ria, Vanshika, Kore. Oh, so many. Vrinda, Vanshika, Sushil, Razia, Misal. I think there are a lot many people. I'll be with you. So we'll be talking to each other, right? Buffering is happening. Ayaz ji, there is something, some student is saying that there is a buffering happening and the video got stuck. So can you please look into the same? Now it's good? Okay. So guys, now it's good. It's good for us to start. So first of all, what is it? Employee cost. What is the expectation of ICAI from you? So guys, first of all of us should know the difference between direct and indirect labor. Very important. We should know the difference between direct and indirect labor as far as ICAI is concerned. You will be feeling what's great about it. When I'll start teaching, then you'll understand. Second, the ICAI is very clear about that you should know the concept of overtime. You should know the accounting part here, right? This is what ICAI is interested. ICAI is very much interested in the concept of the incentive, or I should say the motivation plans which are given. Primarily, ICAI is interested only in three, I should put it like this: piece rate, wholesale, really. And the next thing which ICAI is very, very interested, extremely interested, is the concept of labor turnover. So these are the four things which should be the takeaway from this particular topic, employee cost. We will try to cover up it in 2 sessions today, and the next session, I think, will be good enough for us to talk about it. We'll be solving certain sums of ICAI. Besides this, definitely we need to know about the concept of direct idle time, and we need to understand what do you mean by blue collar workers and white collar workers. And definitely when we are talking about employees, we need to understand the theoretical part, that when I'm talking about labor turnover, ICAI may give you a theory question that why there is, or what can be the reasons for labor turnover. So this is all what is the expectation of ICAI from you from this particular topic. Now let me have a look if anybody has anything to say. I think everything seems to be good now. Right. So everybody, so I think all of you should write this down. Now I start with the topic. I think everybody has written this, right? You will be getting the important notes, the question answers, everything. But what I tell you to write, please open up your page, notebook, write it down, employee cost. These are the 4 things which I should know if I am a student of chartered accountancy and I have to write a C examination. Now coming up, I clear my drawings, and let us first go back to certain questions. First of all, why are we studying costing? We are studying costing. Now, what are the main ingredients, or what are the main subdivisions? Because for the price, I need to know the cost, right? After the cost is known, you add a profit to it and you get the price. What are the main elements in a cost? So there are 3 elements. One is a material. The other is labor, or we are calling it as employee. When we talk about anything, I want to, cost this mobile, then this mobile is also built up of 3 things. That 3 things happens to be the material which has been spent on it, the employees or the labor cost which has been incurred on it, and the other expenses, which we technically call as overhead. So we are picking up the second element on it, and that was labor or employee. When we now the second question arises, what is there to study about labor costing or employee costing? So for that, let me first tell you about blue collar workers and white collar workers. White collar workers are the workers or the people who are, at a senior level, let me put it like this, right? Who are not directly involved into production. They may be doing things or work which have got no direct nexus to production. We can also call them indirect labor. Indirect labor may have one kind of white collar workers. The other kind of workers happens to be the blue collar workers, or the workers which are essentially, one kind of group of workers are essentially who are involved into production. So let me have a bifurcation like this as direct labor and indirect labor. So when I say direct labor, that means this is the labor force or this is the workers which are there inside the factory who are directly involved into the production process. Now, what does that mean? Say, for example, Abhi, we took up, we can take up any product, let's say furniture. So the person who is actually involved in making that table or chair is a direct labor. But there may be people who are not directly involved into production. They are looking after the sales part, or they are accounting, or they are supervising. Now, these people are also employees, but they're not direct employees. They are not directly. They are indirectly. So I hope everybody gets a clear idea as to what direct labor and indirect labor means. And guys, I would like each one of you to open up your institute material when you're sitting with me, right? Because then I will rush through the ICAI material, right? After I've taught certain things, I'll rush through the ICAI material, right? So I hope everybody is clear with direct labor and indirect labor, right? Okay. Now, once we are clear with this, I would like to give you another term, right? Let us talk about idle time or idle hours, right? Okay. Now, what do you mean by idle time and non-idle time, right? Say, for example, you are supposed to work from 8 o'clock in the morning till 2 o'clock, right? Now you have to be working from 8 to 2. So how many hours are there, guys? 9, 10, 11, 12, 1. So 5 hours, right? I said 8 to 1. No, 8. What time I said? Okay, you're supposed to work from 8 to 2. Let me put it like this. So 8 to 2 would be how many hours? Let's say 6 hours. Now, do you expect everybody to keep on continuously working for those 6 hours? I hope I've calculated the hours correctly. 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, and 2. Yeah. Do you think everybody is working for like all 6 hours? Don't you think there will be a coffee break, which is unavoidable? Just asking. I don't think so. There will be certain unavoidable breaks, or you can say idling around, which can be a coffee break or maybe a break for lunch. Now, let's say this is 1 hour, 15 minutes of tea break, and then 15 minutes of breakfast, and again, some half an hour of lunchtime. So I assume that if a person is working for 6 hours, he would not be into the production for all those 6 hours. He would be taking up a break of 15, 15, and 30 minutes. Now, this idle time is actually an unavoidable idle time. I can't do anything about it, right? When I can't do anything about it, what do I do? Then if I have to say that it takes 6 hours to produce, 5 hours to produce a good, I will not say 5 hours. I will say it takes 6 hours to produce a good. Because that 1 hour will become a part and parcel of that production time. Am I clear to everybody? What did I say? Thank you so much. So, are you getting what I'm trying to say? I repeat. I need to produce a good. It takes 6 hours to produce a good. But of those 6 hours, there is 1 hour wherein the breaks which have to be given are unavoidable, right? That is 15 minutes of tea break has to be given. 15 minutes of breakfast time has to be there. Half an hour of lunch time has to be there. Now, this 15 and half an hour makes it up 1 hour. Now, this 1 hour you cannot avoid. So, technically speaking, you are producing the good for only 5 hours. But if you say that I take 5 hours to produce a good, you are not giving a correct picture, guys, because that 1 hour is a part and parcel of it. That is why they say that idle time, which is unavoidable, becomes a part of production time. So what is the takeaway? What is the takeaway from what I've taught you right now? The takeaway is that, madam, if it is an unavoidable break, then that idle time is actually a part and parcel of the production time. In fact, when we will be setting up the standard time for producing a good, I will consider this time also for the purpose of production. So this is technically, in my understanding, this is not idle time, right? We will see what ICAI has to say. Now let me talk about, you are allowed to take up a break of like 1 hour. But we realize that instead of taking up a break of 1 hour, the people are not working, or they are primarily just wasting their time. And the things which could have been completed in 4 hours is taking up 5 hours. So technically speaking, the reason for 6 hours happens to be 1 hour is unavoidable break, but the next 1 hour was practically, it could have been avoided. It could have been avoided. Yes. Now this is abnormal. This is idle time. This could have been avoided. We can actually reduce this particular time. We can actually, that is why we need a supervisor. We need to check that why this idle time is there. Why were people not back to work when the time for breakfast was over, right? What was the reason? So every time as a chartered accountant, we need to keep on looking into the fact that whether this idle time is avoidable or it is not avoidable. If it is unavoidable, it becomes a part and parcel of the production. But if it is avoidable, you say this idle time is abnormal. And of course, something which is abnormal cannot become a part of production cost. Now, this has to be treated as an abnormal expense, or we can say overheads, because they are not directly relating to production. So am I very, very clear to everybody? Jasmine says, please repeat, ma'am. Ma'am, I feel some network problem. Please do something. I asked this, this is what I am getting, but it's only from one, right? Rest, everybody is not saying any problem. Okay. Okay. So I put everything which I've taught till now. First of all, we understood the term direct labor. So direct labor is labor which is involved in production, which is directly involved in production. Yes. Indirect labor. Indirect labor, not directly involved in production. Right. Next thing we understood was the concept of idle time. And we understood this idle time can be normal or abnormal. If it is normal, then it becomes a part of the production cost. If it is normal, it becomes a part of production cost. And if not, if it is abnormal, it becomes a part of overheads or indirect costs. So this is what I have taught till now. Okay. Now, let's move to the next thing. So I think everybody is clear. We'll in some time use the text material. After I take up a break, we will be looking at the ICAI material. Okay. Now, let's talk about another concept called as overtime. What do you mean by overtime, and why do I need to work overtime? Now, guys, if you'll actually study, you are studying law, you are studying Provident Fund Act, and that's all a part of your syllabus as far as your law is concerned. And there you'll realize that there is a Factories Act wherein it talks about that what is the number of hours a person can work. So when you read that, when you study your law, even in costing paper, they mention that technically a person is supposed to work for like 35 hours in a week, or maybe 8 hours in a day, right? Saturday should be a half day. You should not be working on a public holiday. So there is a norm, there is a pattern, right? You cannot make a person work like a machine. A human being cannot work for like 24 hours in a day. So they are very clear what is the time, what is for how many hours you can make a person work. So it is 8 hours in a day you can make a person work. Right? But I make a person work for like 12 hours or 13 hours. Now, don't you think that when I make a person work more than what he was required to work, then you tell me, do you think it is rational for me to only ask him to work at the wage rate for which he was working for those regular 8 hours? Do you think anybody would be ready to work for those regular wage rate for those, if you make the person work beyond the normal hours, which is 8? Okay, till then I answer the question. Renuka, this is a way of understanding. Blue collar workers are the workers. Now, blue collar workers can be direct labor also and indirect labor also. Blue collar workers are the workers who are actually working at the factory level. They are people who are working at the floor level. So we call them blue collar workers. That's why I said white collar workers are people who are usually working in the offices, right? The first thing is, when we are studying about employee costing, we're not talking about those white collar workers, right? Who are, in the offices. Here, I'm talking about, when I talk about production, especially, then Renuka, I'm talking about the blue collar workers, because blue collar workers will be the people who will be directly involved in production. But yes, there would be blue collar workers who may not be directly involved into production. Say they may be involved into repair work, or they may be involved into some other activity which is not directly relating to production. Right, Renuka? So that's a reason for me to tell you about blue collar workers. Now, white collar workers will be a part of my administration expenses or selling expenses, right? So that's the reason. And generally people have a tendency to talk in terms of blue collar and white collar workers. So I wanted to use that. Okay. So yes, till then Vanishka has given me an answer. Jyoti says, yes, it will be irrational. No, ma'am, we need to give them some extra bonus. That means every one of you is agreeing with me that nobody, even if you ask me that, Anu, I'll be paying you 200 rupees per hour. Let's say I'm a person directly involved into production, and I am working, and 8 hours is my normal time. And you tell me, no, Anu, you'll have to wait down and you'll have to work for 4 more hours. Now those 4 extra hours which I am working, I expect a premium. I expect a premium. I will not be ready to work only at 200 rupees per hour. I've taken up too much of it. Anyways, so I expect a premium. So I would be like, you need to pay me something more than 200 rupees per hour. Now it can be, the company may decide, okay, we'll pay you 30% more than 200 rupees. So 30% more means 200 ka 30% will be how much? 200 ka 30% is going to be 60 rupees. So they say, okay, if you work for more than 8 hours, we will not pay you as per 200 rupees per hour. We'll pay you as per 260 rupees per hour. Or it could be 50%. It depends upon the organization. Now, once we understand this concept, extra hours and premium, what is the expectation of ICAI? That, okay, you understand what overtime is. Now they are interested that you tell me, madam, what will be going into the direct labor cost and what will be going into overheads. This is what ICAI is interested. They asked you a repetitive question on this, right? Abhishek asked me, ma'am, if overtime working continues for longer time, it becomes a regular period. No, dear. Abhishek, just because you keep on making me work for 10 hours every day, doesn't mean that you're not going to pay me overtime. I definitely deserve to get an overtime because I'm supposed to work only for 8 hours in a day, if at all. Then, and if you're making me work for 10 hours every day, you are making me work overtime by 2 hours every day. And you should give me a premium for that. So Abhishek, that cannot be a reason that if it's a part of habit. Okay, now coming back to this. I said, what is ICAI interested? ICAI is interested in, first of all, to tell or explain every one of you what do you mean by overtime, which we all understand now, that if you work those extra hours more than the normal hours, it is known as overtime. Now, the accounting part, it's like, I'll explain it to you. For example, I tell you, the normal wage rate happens to be 20 per hour, right? And just a second, guys. There was a lot of noise, so I thought this is the time I close my window. Okay, coming back. Now, so I say if the wage rate happens to be 20 rupees per hour, right? And everybody is supposed to work for 8 hours in a day, right? I tell you, Reena works for 12 hours and Mansha works for 11 hours. Any problem? Right? Now, the company has a policy that we will be giving a premium at the rate of 50%. Now, this is a company's policy. Now, if ICAI wants to know that, Anuji, please tell me that how much will be a part of prime cost or direct labor cost and how much will go into overheads. So what do I do? Right? Okay, first of all, wage rate happens to be 20 per hour. Yes. The premium rate decided happens to be 50% of this. That means it is 10 rupees per hour. Any problem? Now let us calculate. I will do it for Reena. You people do it for Mansha. Now please look at it here carefully. Now Reena is a direct production. Both the people are directly involved into production. They are my direct labor. Please understand, right? They are my directly involved into production. Reena worked for 12 hours. So what is she supposed to get? 12 hours into 20, which is 240 rupees. She is supposed to get for working for 12 hours. Now this is direct labor cost. But she would also be getting premium. How much premium she'll be getting? She'll be getting premium for 4 hours. Because you're supposed to work for 8 hours. She has worked for 12 hours. So how much overtime hours she has worked? 12 minus 8. How many overtime hours she has worked? 12 minus 8, which is 4. Now for this, she will get a premium of 10 rupees more, which is going to be how much? 40 rupees. Now this 40 rupees is overtime premium, and this is known as overheads. Am I clear? If you are clear, I give you 10 seconds. Can you tell me what does Mancha get? Mancha works for 11 hours. Please tell me the answer. Please tell me the answer. Till then, I read anything which students have written. Ma'am, if overtime, okay. Sahil, there are some firms which do not give overtime. It can be taken as a loss for the labor and profit for the company. Absolutely right, Sahil. If you're talking in terms of a CA firm, then better get into the habit of working overtime and not demanding overtime, because feel blessed that chartered accountants have so much work that everybody has to work overtime. But and don't treat yourself to be somebody who's looking out for that overtime. Treat yourself to be a white collar worker who's looking out for promotions and ESOPs. So Sahil, this should be the last time wherein you should be talking about it, right? Mancha. In ICAI module, the difference between direct labor, employee cost, and cost for what is indirect labor may not vary with the volume of production. As we know, I'll come back to that, Mancha. Okay? But I'll remember your question, right? Whatever ICAI has written, we look into it, but I'll read your question. You say in ICAI module, one of the difference between direct and indirect labor cost or overhead is its indirect employee may not vary with volume of production. They're absolutely right. As we know, overhead or indirect expenses can be further categorized into fixed and variable. And variable portion is always which varies with the production. In my understanding, it's correct. You are absolutely correct, Mancha. What ICAI is trying to tell you, they are trying to bring in a broad interpretation for you that when you say direct labor cost, they're trying to say the direct labor cost is a labor which is directly involved into production. So that's what is the intention of ICAI. So any expenditure which you give or any wages which you pay to a direct labor will always be a part of prime cost or direct labor cost. That's the intention of ICAI. Now, when ICAI says that indirect labor is going to be treated as overhead and it does not vary with production, what ICAI means to say is, for example, a person who is an indirect labor, why I call him indirect labor? We are calling him indirect labor because he's not directly involved into production. Let's say he's involved into repairing. Now, how can repairing be related to production? Right? If a person has come up and he has said that, okay, this repair work will take 4 hours, right? Now, the repair work needs 4 hours. So it's an expenditure which is variable. If I am supposed to pay that worker hourly, then in that situation, it's a variable overhead. Are you getting my point, Mancha? But it is not a direct labor cost. Am I able to clarify your doubt? I will take it up again, Mancha. Right. Just a second, let me look at the answers which students have given. So Mancha's wages is going to be 190. Pradeep Pooja says it is going to be 250. Premium is going to be 40. Mancha it's going to be 30. What do you call this premium? That's what I'm interested in. So I want the answer to be written like this, that ma'am, direct labor cost in case of Mancha, direct labor cost in case of Mancha is going to be 11 into 20, which is 220. So anybody who wrote 190 is wrong. This is what I'm trying to emphasize. Right? Those 11 hours, Mancha was working. She's a direct labor. So anything which you pay to a worker for the productive hours, and that is the wage rate for doing those productive, for doing that work, will always be a part of direct labor cost. But the premium which I paid to Mancha is for how many hours? 3 hours. And how much premium I paid? 10. So 30 is overhead. Am I very clear? So I get only Nancy giving me an absolutely perfect answer. Labor cost happens to be this. Next time I ask you a question, you are going to give me an answer how? I'll tell you. you will tell me, ma'am, this is direct labor cost, will be a part of prime cost. So you can write in your answer like this, direct DLC, and whatever would be the premium portion, you will write it down as overhead. So this is how you're going to give me the answer. So I give you a question. Let's say Mohit works for 12 hours. Wage rate is 15 rupees per hour. Overtime happens to be 30%. Can you give me the answer, please? Can you give me the answer, please? Everybody. So can we look at the answer? I don't want Mansha. I want it for Mohit now. Mansha, I will answer your question. Everybody, you've got 10 seconds. 8 left. Okay, so by the time you're answering me, I do it for you, right? First of all, what is the overtime premium? Overtime premium happens to be 15 into 30%. 15 into 30% is how much, guys? 15 into 30%. 4.5 rupees per hour. So Mohit gets, what is the direct labor cost? It is going to be 12 into 15, which is how much? 12 into 15 is 180. And what is going to be the overhead? Overhead is going to be the premium which we paid to Mohit, which is going to be how much? 4 into 4 hours, because 8 hours. You work anything above 8 hours is overtime. So 4 hours he has worked. What is the premium we are paying? 4 rupees 50 paisa. 15 rupees. 30% of 15 rupees is overtime. 4 rupees 50 paisa. How much does this come out to be? 4.5 into 4, which is 18. I hope I am very clear now. Right? So everybody has calculated it correctly. And it makes me feel happy that you have understood one concept, right? Which is like worth as good as 5 marks sometimes in the examination. You need to be very, very clear with it. Now I'm coming back, guys, to what actually Mansha had asked me a question. So I'm reiterating. She said that, ma'am, ICAI says that direct labor is directly related to production. It is directly related to change in volume. Right, Mansha? And then she said, ma'am, indirect labor is somebody not related to production and does not vary with units produced. Now, Mansha, hear me carefully. How whatever ICAI has written is correct. And why is it correct? Okay. So hear me. This is what is the question. Has everybody seen it? Has everybody seen the question? Right? Wonderful. So everybody has understood. It makes me feel so happy. Right? Now, guys, this is the question which Mansha has asked me, ma'am, how is it possible? Because a person can be, indirect expenses can be a variable expense, or an indirect can be a fixed expense or a variable expense. So how is ICAI writing that an indirect labor cost does not vary with units produced? Now listen to me, how and why ICAI has written this. So I'm clearing the board now. So let us say, what do you mean by direct labor? As I said, direct labor is a person who is directly involved into production. So let us say our product is furniture, right? So it takes 2 hours to produce 1 unit. It takes 2 hours to produce 1 unit, right? Now 2 hours to produce 1 unit. Now, if you have produced 1,000 units, how many hours you would have spent? Very clear. Total hours you would have spent would have been 1,000 into 2. Any problem? Which is 2,000. 2,000 hours. Now, if I pay 10 rupees per hour, the direct labor cost happens to be how much? 2,000 into 10, which is 20,000 rupees. Now, this is what ICAI means by saying that direct labor expenditure is directly related to production and it varies with every unit produced. If I will produce 1,200 units, then number of hours would be 1,200 into 2, which is going to be 2,400 hours. And what will be the labor cost? 24,000. If I produce 1,500 units, then the hours would be how much? 1,500 into 2, which is going to be 3,000 hours. And what will be the labor cost? It is going to be 30,000. I hope everybody is clear till here. Mancha, you have asked a very, very relevant question. That is why I'm taking it up, even though I have not started sharing up the institute material with you. Are you clear? Absolutely clear, everybody? If yes, please tell me yes. This is what ICAI means by saying that direct labor cost is a cost which varies with production, right? So, okay, by the time you answer me, now let me move up to an indirect labor. Now let's say indirect labor, I took up an example of repair, right? Or a person who is not directly involved into production can be a supervisor, right? So supervisor is not directly involved into production. Or it could be a security watchman at the factory gate, right? Wherein he has got nothing to do with the production, but he is taking care of the security of the factory. A repair person, whatever, right? Now, if I say that, okay, repair work has to be done and it took 20 hours. Okay, it is not an annual maintenance contract. For the purpose of repair work to be done, 20 hours had to be worked. And for each hour, we will pay the person 50 rupees per hour. Now, 20 into 50 is what you are paying. This is definitely variable. But this is variable as per the hours worked. This is not variable as per production of units. Am I clear? Mancham, this is variable. This expenditure is variable. You worked because for doing that repair work, you required 20 hours. For each hour, you were paying 50 rupees. So this is definitely variable, but variable in terms of what? It is variable in terms of hours. This is not variable in terms of production units. And this is exactly what ICAI meant to say, that direct labor is a labor which varies with the production. I need to produce 1 unit. I need to spend 2 hours producing 1 unit. And if I'll be paid per hour so and so, then for 2 hours, how much will I be paid? So the expenditure of direct labor cost will move with the number of units which I'll be producing because they are directly involved into production. But indirect expenditure can be fixed or variable. Now, fixed and variable will depend upon if it is dependent on any hourly or on the happening of anything which is dependent on something is a variable, right? Like, for example, a supervisor. I would call his salary to be fixed because whatever may be the units produced, if I have hired a supervisor, I'm going to give him 30,000 rupees per month. The salary is fixed. It is fixed expenditure and it's an indirect labor. And it's an indirect expenditure. Right? So I hope I have tried to make the point very clear now. Right? So till now, guys, we are very clear with the word direct labor, indirect labor, overtime, and idle time. We are very clear with these 4 terms, right? Now let us move further. Let us move further. Let us talk about the incentive schemes. And why do we need to study these incentive schemes? What is the logic? Of course, we'll be studying about various incentive schemes. Shamim, you say once again, okay? Okay. Pooja says each kind of repair may require different hours. Absolutely right, Pooja. So it may be, I'm rubbing the board. I'm answering to these questions again. First of all, Shamim, what do I mean by saying that? Shamim, to produce, Shamim, do it with me, to produce 1 unit of a product, you need 1 hour. So if you produce 500 units, how many direct labor hours will be used? Can you tell me, Shamim? Can you please tell me, Shamim, faster? Can you tell me, please, faster? Thank you so much, Abhishek. Thank you so much, Mansha, Manish, everybody. Shamim, can you answer me how many direct labor hours will be required? Till the time you answer me, I'll tell you, we will be requiring 500 into 1. I'll be requiring 500 hours. And if I pay, let us say, 50 rupees per hour to my worker, what will be the direct labor cost? The direct labor cost would be 50 into 500. Yes? Yes? I'm getting an answer from everybody except you, Shamim. Right? After this, I won't explain, bacha. Right? So please hear me and answer and study with me. Online classes or virtual classes is beautiful, trust me. If at all you pay attention and you just don't think that it's a YouTube class, I can go and watch it again. At least I don't treat it like that. Okay. Right. 25,000 rupees. Now this is a direct labor cost. Now, Shamim, if I produce 1,000 units, my hours will be 1,000 into 1,000 into 1, that will be 1,000 hours. What will be my labor cost? 1,000 into 50 rupees. So when you say direct labor cost, it varies with units produced. It varies with units produced. That is why this expenditure is known as a direct labor cost and it varies with production. But if I'm talking about an indirect expense, it can be anything. We took up the example of repair, so I'm continuing with the example of repair. Now, repair also can be of 2 kinds. One could be an AMC. What is AMC? Annual maintenance contract. Now, this annual maintenance contract, if it is taken up for machines or anything, they are fixed in character. They are fixed. This expenditure is fixed. It has no relation to production. It has no relation to production. And the nature of this expenditure happens to be fixed. Am I clear? It's an annual maintenance contract. Whether the machine gets bad or not, I still have to pay that annual maintenance expenditure. If it's taken for 50,000 rupees, I will have to pay that 50,000 rupees, whether my machines go bad or they do not go bad. They are fixed in a character. This expenditure is fixed, but it has got no relation to production. I may be producing 1,000 units, I may be producing 2,000 units, I may be producing 10,000 units. Now, units production has got nothing to do with this, right? Next thing, Shamim, the repairs may not be in the nature of an AMC. They may be repairs wherein a problem has happened with machine, and the machine man comes in and says, madam, we'll require 40 hours to cure this machine. I ask that person, how much do you want to charge me for these 40 hours? He says, ma'am, I will charge you 100 rupees per hour. Now here, the nature of this is variable, but this is not a expenditure which has got anything to do with production. This is not variating with production. So I think I've made it a point, right? And everybody says they followed. Thank you so much. Charu, got it, ma'am. Thank you. Yes. So I think, okay. Thank you, Shamim. It makes me feel so happy about this. Guys, you are absolutely open to ask me any question. We are here to solve your problems and doubts only. And trust me, I would be very, very happy when, my virtual students of ICAI clear their examinations and they inform me that, ma'am, I managed to clear my paper, or I got 70% in costing. Thank you, ma'am, for clearing the concepts. Trust me, that's the biggest gift which a teacher gets, right? So don't hesitate in asking any question or telling me that, ma'am, if at all you can emphasize on this particular point more, I would be more than happy to do that, right? Don't be afraid of me. You can just treat me as your professional senior who's there to help you out, right? Okay. Now, as I said, till now, what all we have studied, we have talked about direct labor, indirect labor, idle time, and the treatment of overtime. All these things we have done. Now, let us understand the concept of incentivizing or motivating. And why do we need to do that? Why? The biggest question is why? Why? This is required. Now I ask all of you guys there, and people can answer me. Before I ask you a question, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you a small, example. People call it a bribe, but I don't call it a bribe. There was a student, very nice, very intelligent, but very naughty. So I told him in very clear terms, ki beta, you're good, but then it doesn't really make a point because you're not studying, you're not going to clear your CA examinations. So what's going to be the big fun? You do your questions very well, but you're not systematic, you don't study, and ultimately the result is going to be that you're going to fail. So he says, no, ma'am, I'll study. I'll do this, I'll do that. I realized, even if I tell him clearly, he's not understanding, he's still the same. There's no change. Then I observed that boy, and I thought that because he was very good, and I realized that people like this are needed in the profession. He had that wonderful tactical brain and he was intelligent. Then I realized that this boy actually really gets geared up if you give him something, something small, maybe a sandwich or maybe a chocolate or anything. So what did I do? I started in the classes that anybody who's going to do the question in the next 5 minutes or 7 minutes or 8 minutes, whatever, depending on the question, I announced it in the class that that person would be getting a chocolate or maybe a sandwich, which we get down our classes, right? So a CA Institute, basically I'm talking about, right? So wonderful. There was a center of ICAI in our Mumbai, and a lot of eateries were there outside. So I was like, I'll order sandwiches for the person who does it in this time. Oh, that boy who would never finish up a question at time and would laze around. He used to be the first person. If I give 5 minutes, he would be the person to finish it up in 4 minutes and do the question and give it to me. So why do we need to incentivize? I think everybody are very clear. I need to increase the efficiency of a person. I need to increase the efficiency of the person. Now, for increasing the efficiency of the person, I should understand what is it that other person wants. What is it that I'm going to give him, which will make him perform better. Now, in the case of the workers are always looking out for an increase in their wage rate. Besides the qualitative factors, of course, nobody wants to work with somebody who's very rude and who does not treat you as humans. I'm not talking about the qualitative part right now. I'm talking about the quantitative part. If we keep the qualitative part at bay, we realize that quantitatively, worker class specifically, I'm repeating, the worker class specifically is looking for that, oh, if I was getting 10 rupees per hour, what if I start getting 11 rupees per hour? Now that need of a worker to get that 11 rupees per hour calls for some kind of incentive scheme to be given to the employees so that if they work more efficiently, that is, if it takes, in 8 hours, if a person can produce 16 units, and if we tell them that if you are going to work better or if you're going to produce more units, I'm going to give you some bonus, then a person is working for 8 hours, but he is not producing just 16 units. That person is producing 20 units or 25 units. That means a person is working more than his capabilities. He's trying to achieve his 100% efficiency. The worker is happy because I'm not making him work overtime. I'm making him work for those same number of hours. But by giving him some kind of an incentive scheme, I'm helping a worker achieve the wage rate which he wants. How does this happen? I'll tell you. For example, it takes 1 hour to produce a good. Yes, it takes 1 hour to produce a good. A person works for 8 hours. So technically, a person can produce how many units? He can produce 8 units. But if I tell a person that I am going to give you I'm going to give you an incentive of any time which you will save, I will give you 40% of your wage rate over and above your normal wage. Are you understanding what did I say? I said it takes 1 hour to produce a good. So if a person works for 8 hours, technically how many units you can produce? He can produce only 8 units, right? Now, I give an incentive plan to the worker and tell him that if you will produce more units, or in these 8 hours, you are able to produce more than these 8 units, or I can say it differently. Instead of saying more units, I can say it, if you're going to save time, right? एक ही चीज को कहने के बहुत तरीके होते हैं. So one methodology of saying it is, you produce more units. Instead of that, what do I tell? Oh, if you are going to save time, I will give you whatever your wage rate is. I'm going to give you 40% of that wage rate over and above your normal wage rate. Now, this is what I say. Let's see what is going to be the impact. Right. Then let me look at any questions coming here. Ma'am. Nancy, ma'am, what about if instead of 5 hours, we take lesser time or extra time? If you, that lesser time, if you take, we are talking about the incentive which you're going to get, which is going to become a part of your bonus. If you take extra time, then in that extra time, if it was unavoidable or it was avoidable, I told you, idle time, that steps in. Definitely, Shivani, ICAI material is very good. Ria, to achieve objectives of firm, incentives are given. Yes, ma'am, to improve the quality of food. Sushil, production will increase, workers will be able to, so everybody understands, right, what it means. Now, this is the question which I've given to you. So let us see, this is what I've done. What is going to be the impact? Okay. So let us say there is Ria and there is Abhishek. My two production workers. Ria produces 10 units. Abhishek produces 12 units. Now, guys, what was the standard time for producing 1 unit? The standard time for producing 1 unit was 1 hour. Now, Ria has worked for 8 hours and even Abhishek has worked for 8 hours. Both of them have worked for only 8 hours. But they have not produced 8 units. Ria produced 10 units and Abhishek produced 12 units. And what did I promise them? I said, if you're going to save time, I'm going to give you 40% of whatever time you're going to save. So let me see, what do I do? So what is Ria going to get? Ria will be definitely paid for those 8 hours, right? Now let us understand the wage rate happens to be, this is BWR is basic wage rate. I repeat, BWR is basic wage rate. So let us say the basic wage rate happens to be 10 rupees per hour. Yes. So Ria get 8 into 10, 80. No, she doesn't only get 8 into 10. She has saved time for me. What is the time saved? Now you people calculate. For 10 units, she should have taken up 10 hours. She should have, right? For producing 10 units, she should have taken up 10 hours. But she took 8 hours. So what is the time that she saved for me? 10 minus 8, 2 hours. So what should I pay her? I promised her that 40% of her wage rate. So 40% of the wage rate happens to be 40% of rupee 10 happens to be how much? 4 rupees. So she will get 2 into 4, 8 rupees. 8 rupees more here. Sorry. So what is the total payment now Ria is getting? She is getting a payment of 88 rupees. She is getting a payment of 88 rupees. And you know what is going to be the impact? The impact of this is effective wage rate. EWR. EWR means effective wage rate. Effective wage rate becomes how much for Ria? It becomes 88 divided by 8. How much does this come out to be, guys? How much does this come out to be? 88 divided by 8. And this is what Ria was looking for. This is what Ria was looking for. So do we understand these terms? Basic wage rate is what is being promised to you. Effective wage rate, EWR. If you have followed, can you please tell me what is going to be the effective wage rate for Abhishek? I'm giving you 10 seconds. Abhishek has produced 12 units. Can you tell me what'll be effective wage rate of Abhishek? Can you people tell me? Okay. I have got certain answers, right? So effective wage rate of Abhishek, let's check it out, right? Let's check it out. Now, what is going to be given to Abhishek? Abhishek has produced those units in 8 hours only. So 8 into 10, 80 rupees is what Abhishek is getting. But Abhishek produced 12 units. For producing 12 units, technically, Abhishek required 12 hours. But he worked, actual time which he took was only 8 hours. So he saved, time saved by him was 4 hours. Yes. Now what am I going to give him? I am going to give him 4 into that premium, the bonus which I promised him, which was 416. So how much does Abhishek get? He gets 96 rupees. So what is the effective wage rate of Abhishek? It is 96 divided by 8 hours, which is how much? So I can see that a lot of people have given correct answer. No, Ronit, you need to give me a correct answer. What do you mean by effective wage rate? Effective wage rate is, what is the rate? If I am not being, if I have my rate was 10 rupees per hour, right? Ria. But because of this bonus, this is what? This is nothing but the bonus. So because of this bonus, my wage rate per hour, instead of 10 rupees, rose up to 12 rupees per hour. So that is what we mean by when we say effective wage rate. Is everybody ready to do one more question? Those who have done it right, please correct. 136 is the wrong answer on it. Right. So I give you a question. So many people have given me a correct answer, but some have given a wrong answer. So I give you a question again. So everybody is now clear with the word effective wage rate. Effective wage rate means effective wage rate means your basic wages plus bonus divided by hours worked. This is your effective wage rate. Yes. Effective wage rate is not 16, Hina. Right. Okay, very good, Srisha, that you got the correct answer now. Hina, you need to improve on it. So I give you another question, right? So that we understand this concept. Okay. After this question, we'll give a break, right? Just one question. You can do that question in the break. Okay. So the question goes like this. a company says that they are going to give a bonus of 50% of time saved. They are going to give a bonus of 50% of time saved. It takes 30 minutes to produce a good. It takes 30 minutes to produce a good. Each employee works for 8 hours. Every employee is working for 8 hours, right? Now we've got two employees, Manish and Hina. They both have worked for those 8 hours, but the production done by Manish happens to be 24 units. And Hina happens to be 30 units. The basic wage rate which the company has promised happens to be rupees 10 per hour. Okay. Now this is the question. Okay. Kamlesh, I can explain you in Hindi, but I'm not supposed to speak in Hindi, dear. But anyways, to do this question, मैं इस चीज को वापस से हिंदी में भी बोल दूंगी कमलेश. इसका मतलब है कमलेश की इफेक्टिव वेज रेट का मतलब होता है कमलेश कि आप को जो बेसिक वेजेस मिलती हैं उसके साथ जो बोनस मिलता है उसकी वजह से आपका पर आवर रेट जो आपको पर प्रति घंटा जो आप पैसा कमा रहे हो वो ज्यादा हो जाता है. उसी को हम इफेक्टिव वेज रेट बोलते हैं, राइट? Now on this note, I take a break of 5-7 minutes. Till then, you please solve this question, right? The question is in front of you. Okay, guys, the 5 minutes break is over. And let me look at the answers. Okay. Most of you appear to have given a similar answer. Now let me check it out. That is the answer correct or not? So what had we decided? We had decided that we are going to give a bonus of 50% of time saved, right? Basic wage rate was 10 rupees and 30 minutes to produce a unit. Each employee works for 8 hours. Manish produces 24 units and Hina produces 30 units. Now, first of all, before I calculate, what should have been the standard time for producing 24 units? If one unit takes 30 minutes, that means for 24 units, we require 12 hours. And similarly, for 30 units, we require 15 hours. Any problem? Okay, now the question is, time saved by Manish happens to be 12 minus 8, 4 hours. Time saved by Hina happens to be how much? 15 minus 8 happens to be 7 hours. Any problem in this? Right? Any problem in this? No? So I repeat, Manish, 24 units he has produced. उसने 24 units produced किए हैं. For one unit, you require half an hour. That means for 24 units, you'll require 12 hours. The time they have actually worked is 8 hours. So what is the time saved? Standard time minus actual time, which happens to be 12 minus 8, which is 4 hours. And for Hina, it is 15 minus 8, which is 7 hours. Now, can we proceed? Now, I clear my screen. The basic wage rate is 10 rupees. And we will give bonus at the rate of 50% of time saved, 50% of course of the basic wage rate. So that is going to be rupee 5. So for Manish, it is, how much is his basic wages? What is his basic wages? It is 8 into 10, which is 80 rupees. This is Manish. What is the bonus he is getting? He is getting a bonus of 4 hours into 5 rupees, which is 20. So how much does Manish get? He gets 100. Yes, how much does Manish get? He gets 100 rupees. So what is his effective wage rate? It is 100 divided by 8, which is how much? Let me check it out. 100 divided by 8. It is 12.5. A lot of people gave me this answer. And for the other person, I forgot the name of the other person, jo bhi the. It was basic wages will be how much? It'll be 8 into 10 is going to be 80 rupees only. Yes. But what is going to be the bonus? Right. Bonus is going to be 5. Time saved was 7 into half of it, or you could have, I just reduced this. This was how much? 35. Yes or no? Okay. Okay. Have I done this correctly? First of all. Yeah. The other way of doing this, instead of doing this, you could have said 4 hours, time saved was 2. So it is 2 hours into 10 rupees. And also you get this answer. I just divided this and got out with that amount because it was exactly 50 and I got the answer. Yes. So anyways, 7 into 5, 35. So how much is this person getting? 5115. So effective wage rate for this person happens to be 115 divided by 8, which is going to be how much? 14.375. Now, most of you have given me this answer. Hina, you have answered me wrong. Most of you have given me this answer. Yes, so I'm happy that you have understood. Most of you have given me this answer. Yeah, perfect. No, some students are writing 17. Oh, no, that's wrong. That's wrong. I give you one more question. And this time, everybody should be right. Everybody should be right. Not even a single person wrong. Because when it's Anu Agarwal teaching, I need 100% as far as costing as the paper is concerned. Okay. So I hope everybody has understood this. I give you one more question. Okay. I tell you, the company says, time saved, you'll be rewarded 50% of the time saved on the basis of basic wage rate. The basic wage rate for an employee in the organization was rupees 15. Yes. Everyone has to work for working hours are 8. It takes 15 minutes to produce a good. It takes 15 minutes to produce a good. Yes. So we have got Shivani and we have got Razia. Now Shivani produces 40 units and Razia produces 50 units. Can every one of you tell me what will be the effective wage rate of Shivani and Razia? Beta, it will reach up to the same thing, Shivani. Ma'am, it is 50% of time saved. Then it should be 2 hours and 3.5. End of the day, it's going to give you the same answer. Right, Shivani? So it's okay. So can all of you do it for me? You have got exactly 30 seconds to go. Hina, just because you answered me wrong, so I have given this one more question. Don't be wrong. Okay. Time up. Let me do this question. Okay. Now, company says time, save whatever time you're going to save. I'm going to pay 50% of the time saved on the basis of the basic wage rate. The basic wage rate happens to be 15. You can do 15 into half, that is 7.5 rupees is what you're going to pay for the time saved. Or you can do time saved divided by 2 into the basic wage rate. It's going to give you the same answer, right? Now, if it takes 15 minutes to produce a unit, that means in 1 hour, how many units we can produce? In 1 hour, how many units we can produce? We can produce 4 units, right? So technically speaking, in an 8 hours time, a person should have produced only 32 units, right? But Shivani and Razia both happen to be efficient people, right? They have produced more than the units they were supposed to produce. They have saved time. So let us calculate the time saved. Okay. So Shivani and Razia. Shivani produced 40 units. So she should have taken how many hours? Hours to be taken. or I can say the standard time, or some people call it allowed time. Why allowed time? ICAI loves to use the word allowed time. Allowed time means you are allowed to spend 15 minutes for producing 1 unit. So according to them, you are allowed to spend 15 minutes for producing 1 unit. That means in 1 hour, you can produce 4 units. That means for 40 units, you should take 10 hours. But she has actually worked for 8 hours. So the time saved by her is 2 hours. So what will be the wages which I'll pay her? The basic wages which will be paid to her would be, it'll be 8 hours into 15 rupees, because that was the basic wage rate. How much is it? 8 into 15. That is 120 rupees. Plus bonus, how much she's going to get the bonus? She saved 2 hours, so 2 divided by 2 into the wage rate 15. Or you could have done 15 divided by 2, 7.5 into 2. In any situation, you will get the same answer, 15. So 135 is what is being paid to Shivani. So what is her effective wage rate? Her effective wage rate happens to be 135 divided by 8 hours. How much does this come out to be? 135 divided by 8. This is 16.875. Now look at it. From the wage rate being 15 rupees an hour, it rose up to 16.875. Right? Manish, you have done it wrong. Right? 16.875, 16.875. Brilliant. I'm looking for who did it wrong. Hina. Effective wage rate for Shivani is not 22.5. How are you getting, Hina, 22.5? What is the step that you are missing, Hina? Shivani works for 8 hours. 8 hours into 15, 120. Right? This is her basic wage. How much is the time which she has saved? She has saved 2 hours, so I pay half of it too. Yes? Hina, I'm not going to give one more question now. I think I'm good now. As far as Razia is concerned, she made 50 units. So what should have been the allowed time to her? Allowed time to her should have been, if it takes 1 hour, takes, 4 units. That means for 50 units, I should have taken up 12.5 hours. So the time saved by her happens to be 12.5 minus 8, which is 4.5. Now, what is the basic wages which is paid to Razia is 8 into 15, which is 120 rupees. But what is the bonus which is being paid to her? 4.5 divided by 2 into 50. You can do it either ways. You could have done 4.5 into 7.5, you get the same answer. Or you do 4.5 divided by 2 into 15, 33.75. So how much is it? So what is the effective wage rate? 19.2. Yes, I'm so happy when I'm seeing most of you giving a correct answer. Trust me, it makes me extremely, extremely, extremely happy. Thank you, Razia. Right. For giving me the correct answer. Whether he, perfect. Shriya, Manish, Jasmine, right. Razia, 19.22, perfect. Anushka, perfect. Perfect. I'm feeling happy. I tap myself and I say that, okay, yes, I know. 7 out of 100 students, if 95% do it correctly, trust me, and that too at the first go, you have made my evening. Thank you so much, guys. Now, guys, this what I have taught you is known as Halsey. This scheme, what I've taught you is Halsey. This is what Halsey used to say. This gentleman Halsey believed that we can increase the efficiency of our workers by giving them bonus. And what could be the bonus? Bonus is going to be 50% of the time saved into the basic wage rate. This is what Halsey believed. So Halsey believed that if we give some bonus to the employees, their effective wage rate will increase. And if their effective wage rate will increase and it will be as good as what an employee is looking for, their efficiency will increase. This is what Halsey had to say. So basic wages, people learn formulas. No need to learn formulas, guys. Basic wages would be your actual hours multiplied by your basic wage rate, and your bonus would be time saved into 50% into basic wage rate. This is something which we did. The way Halsey said, similarly, there was a gentleman called as Rowan. He believed, Vanshika, ma'am, are my queries reaching up to you? Yes, Vanshika, your queries are definitely reaching up to me. I think you are answering me correctly, Vanshika. Ma'am, why we as a C are supposed to calculate employee cost? Oh, this was your query. Why are we supposed to calculate? Okay, I think you don't know what a chartered accountant means. Guys, we as chartered accountants are the business solution providers to the business, to the people. Yeah, we audit also, we advise on tax also. That depends upon what area interests you. But one very important thing about a chartered accountant, Vanshika, for answering your question is, we are business solution providers. We are the people who help the organizations to grow. And for that, we need to give them those small advices. Now, one of those small advice can be, why are you making a person work overtime? Why can't we have an employee incentive scheme? Because if the employee is happy, we get the productivity which we are looking for. And at lower wages, we are able to, get the achieved productivity. So ultimately, what is happening is the organizations are getting benefited. So the reason why we are studying employee cost or material cost or overhead cost is because we are the most instrumental people who actually tell the people that how the costing needs to be done. Right? According to you, Vanshika, costing simply means, hours multiplied by the wage rate. That is done by the computer. We are there to help them take up a decision. We should know that, okay, if at all I introduce this particular scheme of incentivizing, my workers' efficiency will increase and maybe we'll be able to get more productivity in lesser time and we'll end up paying less. If you'll actually look at it, one methodology could have been, we could have asked the people to work overtime, right? But that would have been expensive. I have a question which I've given to all of you, wherein, yes, once you finish studying, you can actually solve the questions which I've given, where I'll tell you that which incentive scheme is better. Should I go for Halsey? Should I go for Rowan? Should I go for overtime? Of course, worker always wants more money, but I need to understand what is it that makes him happy. It should be a win-win situation to both the worker and the organization. Organization is looking out for profitability. Worker is looking out for a higher effective wage. So, Vanshika, have I answered your question? Right. Now, Now, Halsey was one person who believed that whatever time we save, we should give 50% of that to the workers as bonus. But there was another gentleman, Rowan, who never believed in this. He said, no, this is not a great idea. He said, no, we can't give bonus like this. Rowan also believed that we should give basic plus bonus. But so basic will be the same, that is actual hours into the basic wage rate. Basic salary would remain, or wages will remain the same for everybody. But bonus, Rowan believed that we should give a proportion of the time saved. And this is what Rowan believed. He said, whatever time is allowed to you and how much time you save, you should proportion it and then give a bonus. So he says, whatever time you save, yes, whatever time you save, you look at it with respect to the time which was allowed to the person. Yes, you are allowed to work, or you could have made that work, or you could have produced those goods in 10 hours, right? So that's the time allowed. And what is the time which you actually take, time taken? Now, this is a proportion. And he said, multiplied by the basic wage rate, this is the bonus you should give, right? Thank you, Vanshika. You're most welcome. This is what we chartered accountants are there to help you understand what we CAs are meant for. Now, Rowan had this concept. He said, no, I won't give 50% of the time saved. I am going to give a proportion. If you want to remember it, remember the word SAT. S-A-T, SAT, time saved divided by time allowed into time taken. There are other people, Taylor and all, they said, no, we are not going to give anybody bonus on the basis of time. He said, why can't we start paying people instead of hourly? Why can't we start giving people or start paying people piece by piece? That was known as piece rate. So what I'm trying to emphasize to you guys is that we can have our own incentive plans. There are a lot of people who have given a lot of incentive plans. But so there was Bath, there was Merrick, all that institute has very nicely done away from your syllabus, saying that no, we don't want clerks, we want chartered accountants. So let us just introduce them to the concept of incentivizing, which is so good for you guys. Institute has been so nice. Otherwise, students who were in the old syllabus had to remember so many schemes. For you guys, ICAI is just emphasizing on these three: Halsey, Rowan, and piece rate. Somebody calls it Halsey, somebody calls it Halsey. So Halsey, Rowan, and piece rate. Like somebody asked me to talk in Hindi, but I'm not supposed to speak in Hindi. No, but still you have a doubt, you can always keep on interrupting me and I'll try to tell you the same thing in Hindi. Okay. Right. Mansha, concentrate on what I'm teaching. What has ICAI included and what has ICAI not included? Cost accounting standards are there in the ICWA examinations. Whatever we are studying, we are trying. We are following all those things. We are not just asking you to learn those. That's the best part of it. So you should feel happy, right? How, Sushil? I am from Mumbai. Okay. Now, we will have time to talk, do some kind of a personal chat. Okay, let me introduce myself since a lot of people have asked. So I am a chartered accountant. So I'm CA Anu Agarwal. I am, how many years? I became a CA in the year 1997. So how many years of being a CA? Oh God, it's long. And I'm primarily from Uttar Pradesh, but my workplace, or I am from Mumbai. So this is about myself, and I love teaching, and I want everybody who qualifies as a chartered accountant should feel happy that they are doing something so good as a course like chartered accountancy. In the recent times, people have started saying that why should I become CA? Or guys, we are doctors to the economy. So I don't think the requirement or the need of a doctor will ever go away. So if you understand this concept, you will understand why do we need to become a chartered accountant, and you'll start working hard towards it. Okay, now, so I hope now we understand the incentive plan. So there can be many incentive plans, Mancha, but ICAI has limited itself to only 3 things, that is Halsey, Rowan, and Piece. And I think after today's session, everybody will be very clear. Halsey believe that we should give bonus only with respect to the time saved, 50% of it. Rowan said, no, we are going to do proportion. And the tailor was there who said, we'll pay as per piece. We will not pay as per time. We will pay as per the number of units produced. So let me give you one more question in order to clear it, that how will Halsey go and how will Rowan go? So I'm just writing down the figures. You can just look at the figures and do it. So let us say basic wage rate happens to be 10, right? 10 rupees per hour. Let us say it takes 20 minutes to produce a good. Okay, everyone works for 8 hours. And now we have Vedahi and Vanshika, our 2 employees. So Vedahi has produced 30 units and Vanshika has produced 36 units. So is the question very clear? Right? Now we'll do this, we'll solve this as per Rowan as well as per Halsey. Right? Now Vedahi says, ma'am, in Rowan incentive plan, Mr. A saves 2 hours, which is allowed. Ah, you have solved it. Razia, ma'am, your teaching is just awesome. Oh, thank you so much. Okay, enjoy studying. Right? Okay, so let's do it. Okay, now it takes 20 minutes to produce a good. So that means in 1 hour, I will produce 3 units. Yes? Okay. That means whether he should have time allowed. The allowed time to whether he, or I can call it standard time. You can use any word for it, standard time or allowed time. So whether he is allowed, how many hours? She is allowed 30 divided by 3, 10 hours. Yes? This is 3. Yes? Okay. Similarly, Vanshika ka allowed time is how much? 36 divided by 3 units, it is 12 hours. So time saved is how much? 10 minus 8 is 2 hours by Vedahi, and it is how much? 12 minus 8, 4 hours for Vanshika. I hope I'm very clear. Yes? Okay. Thank you so much, Anushka. Right. Right. So now I will do it for Vedahi. You will do for Vanshika for me. Right. So we have all the things. I am clearing the screen. The question is in front of you. Basic wage rate is 10 rupees. Okay. Everything done? Okay. Now, I'm doing it for Vedahi. So the basic wages paid to Vedahi this is wholesale, and this is Rowan scheme. So whether it is wholesale or Rowan, whether he will get 8 rupees into 10, that is rupees 80 as her basic wages. I hope I'm very clear. There's going to be no difference. But there is going to be a difference with respect to the bonus. For wholesale, they said, whatever you save your time, I will pay you bonus, half of it. Okay. That is, so the time saved was how much? 2 divided by 2 into 10. So the bonus paid as far as wholesale is concerned is 10 rupees. Whether he saved 2 hours, 2 divided by 2, 1, 1 into 10, 10 rupees. Right? Okay. So whether his total wages is 90. So what is the effective wage rate of Vedahi? It is 90 divided by 8 hours. So what does it come out to be? Let's solve it. 11.25. Now this is the effective wage rate of Vedahi as per wholesale. Let's do it as far as Rowan is concerned. In Rowan, the bonus would have been time saved divided by time allowed into time taken into the basic wage rate. Yes or no? So time saved is 2. Time allowed was 10. Time taken was 8. The basic wage rate happens to be 10. So can we calculate it? Okay. 2 divided by 10 into 8 into 10. So you get a bonus of 16 rupees. Yes? So the total wages as far as Rowan is concerned is 96. So the effective wage rate happens to be 96 divided by 8, which is 12. Okay. Now I did it. I did Vedahi for you. Can you do Vanshika for me, please? Oh, brilliant. You people have become smart. Okay, let me look at the questions. Vanshika, ma'am, please repeat the bonus part of Rowan. I did it right now, Vanshika. Rowan says we will give proportionately. That is time saved divided by time allowed into time taken into the basic wage rate. Abhishek, ma'am, what if it is not feasible to calculate time to produce? Practically, Abhishek, yeah, but that's what engineers and those people are there for. We as chartered accountants don't need to worry about that, right? बेटा एक सिंपल सा चीज बताती हूँ आपको अभिषेक. जैसे हम बोलते हैं ना कि we really do not know whether it will take this much time to do this. अभी एक छोटा सा चीज. If I believe that I would be taking up 1 hour or 2 hours or 3 hours to teach employee cost. Now that whatever time I have given to ICAI, I would have seen that, okay, I usually take this much time to teach a particular topic. But sometimes it may happen that the batch maybe be smarter, so we may end up taking lesser time, or we may end up taking up more time. Because here there is a chance that the time can change because it is a service industry. But usually when we talk about production, there we look into it. That's why economics is taught to you. Therein we tell you that, okay, this is the time we take for producing 1 unit. That is done that once we have reached the optimum, this is the time we take, and this is how you need to do it. So Abhishek, the chances हमें ऊपर नीचे थोड़ा बहुत हो सकता है. That's how it is. Manish, you have given me the answer. Sanjay, not many have given the answer. Christina, Ayush, Anushka. Anushka, you've given me only wholesale. I need. Okay, so everybody has done it. So let me calculate now. Till then I answer the query. You can check for Vanshika, Shika. The basic wages will remain same, whether it is Halsey or whether it is Roman. Yes, it'll be 8 into 10. But as far as Halsey is concerned, the bonus will be how much? She saved on 4 hours, I believe. Yes, she saved on 4 hours. She saved on 4 hours, right? She produced 36 units. Yeah, she saved on 4 hours. Divided by 2 into 10. So how much is it? Her total happens to be 100. Her effective wage rate happens to be 100 divided by 8. 12.5. As far as Rowan is concerned, it'll be 4 divided by 12 into 8 into the basic wage rate 10. So let's see what's the answer. 4 divided by 12 into 8 into 10, which is 26.67. So the total wages for her for 106.67. So the effective wage rate happens to be 13.33. Oh, Sahil, from where are you getting 14? It has to be, I have not asked you to round it up. If it is 13.33, I'm so happy. Anushka, how are you getting 14? I don't understand. I don't understand. It's a simple mathematical. Ronit, how are you getting 14? 13.33 is 13.33. It is not rounded off to 14. Oh, I'm so happy. Most of you have given me the correct answer. Ronit, ma'am, please explain the time allowed and time taken concept again. Okay, Ronit. I told you in the question, it takes 20 minutes to produce a good. One hour mein, how many minutes are there? 60 minutes. That means in 1 hour, how many units you can produce? 3 units. How did I? 60 minutes divided by 20 minutes gives me 3. Now, if I talk about whether she produced 30 units, then how much time is allowed to her? How much time is allowed to her? She's allowed, in 1 hour, she's allowed 3 units, right? She can produce 3 units. That means 30 divided by 3, she's allowed how many hours? She is allowed to produce it in 10 hours. This is known as standard time or allowed time. But she worked for how many hours for producing these units? She worked for 8 hours. These 8 hours is the actual time or the time taken? I hope I'm clear. Yes. Okay. So Ronit, I'm clear. I hope Priyanshi, you have also understood the concept. I think everybody has given the right answer. Karthik, ma'am, in last problem, we take producing per unit 15 minutes. So if per unit you take 15 minutes, that means in 1 hour you can produce 4 units. A person is working for 8 hours. So either in the previous example or in this example, Karthik, in all examples, I have taken up a person working only for 8 hours. So I'm really not able to understand the question. Charu, feeling happy because the first time in posting class, I have given all the correct answers. Thank you so much. Enjoying your class. Thank you so much. Effective wage rate, Ria, whether it is Halsey or Rowan, basic wages plus bonus divided by actual hours is going to be effective wage rate. Okay, you got the right answer. Okay. Mancha, how are you getting? 13.35, it is 13.33 only. Okay. Okay, I hope everybody has understood, right? So one more last question I'm giving, and I want everybody to give me a correct answer. And you will do it as per Halsey and as per Rowan, right? So everybody is ready, right? I'm going to give you 30 seconds. Yeah. Okay. Yes, Shamim, your answer is reaching to me. But since there's so many people, I may be missing out those some answers. But if you're tallying with whatever I'm doing, you've done a brilliant job, right? Ayush, total units produced per hour. I hope I've explained, right? Okay. Anybody still has any doubt? Else, I give you a question. Okay. So I give you basic wage rate, ₹8 per hour. Normal working hours for everyone happens to be 8 hours. It takes 10 minutes to produce a good. It takes 10 minutes to produce a good. We have two workers, Sushil and Christy. Christina or Christy. Okay. So now you're not supposed to do it. Sushil produces 60 units. Christina produces 72 units. Can you tell me the effective wage rate as per Halsey and Rowan? Right. Thank you so much, Shamim. Thank you, Vanshika. If costing has become super interesting, I'm loving this fact. All clear, Ria. Very nice. Yes, Ayush, your answers are reaching me. Thank you, Sushil. You guys have 30 seconds. Calculate. And this is the last time I'll solve a sum. Okay. Time done. Now I solve it. Okay. It takes 10 minutes to produce a good. One hour has 60 minutes. So in 1 hour, you'll produce how many units? 6 units. 10 minutes for 1 unit. 1 hour has 60 minutes. So you'll produce how many units in 1 hour? 6 units. I hope I'm clear. Okay. I erase this. So time allowed to Sushil should be how many? 60 divided by 6 units should be 10 hours. And to Christina, it should be 72 divided by 6. It should be 12 hours. Am I correct? It should be how much? 72 divided by 6, 12 hours. So the time saved by Sushil happens to be 10 minus 8, which is 2 hours. And time saved by Christina happens to be 12 minus 8 is equal to 4 hours. Yes? Is it? Now, guys, let us solve it. Okay. So we do it for Sushil as well as for Christina. Basic wage rate is 8 rupees per hour. So I will do it for both of them here only. Sushil, Christina. So Halsey and Robin. Halsey and Robin. So basic wages is how much? It is 8 hours into 8 rupees. So which is 64. All figures are in rupees, of course. So basic wages are going to be same. Every person is getting 8 rupees for working an hour. 8 hours is what a person is working, right? Now, bonus. Bonus is time saved. So how much is the time saved by Sushil? He has saved 2 hours. 2 divided by 2 into 8. So this is how much? 8 rupees. So what is the total? Total happens to be 72. Yes. So EWR is going to be 9. As far as Rowan is concerned, the bonus would be time saved 2 divided by time allowed into time taken into the basic wage rate, which is 8. So what is the answer? 2 divided by 10 into 8. So the total wages happens to be 12.8 plus 64. 76.8 divided by 8. So the effective wage rate happens to be 9 rupees 60 paisa per hour. As far as Christina is concerned, her bonus is she saved 4 hours. So 4 divided by 2 into 8. How much is it? So her total wages happens to be 80. So her effective wage rate happens to be 10. But here it'll be 4 divided by 12 into 8 into 8. So what is the bonus she gets? 4 divided by 12 into 8 into 21.33. So what is the total wages? 85.33. So what is the effective wage rate? 10.67. I hope everybody gives me the correct answer. Yes. I think most of you have given me, I think almost everybody has given me the correct answer. I'm feeling on top of the world, guys. This is like amazing. This is amazing. So how many of you feel CA stuff? I don't think CA stuff at all. So I'm rubbing my board now. So guys, now if we actually summarize whatever we have studied, we talked about direct labor, we talked about indirect labor, we talked about overtime, we talked about idle time, we talked about incentive plans, Halsey, Rowan, peace. Peace, we did not do any sum because in peace, it'll be like this. Instead of paying somebody per hour, I will be paying a person per unit. For example, in the previous sum, if I say that I will be giving every person, I will be giving every person ₹1 for every unit produced. For example, that would have been there. Then in that situation, if I talk about Sushil, I don't remember how many units he produced. I honestly forgot. Okay, let me take it up. But let's say Sushil, for example, then Sushil produces 60 units. So you will say 60 into ₹1. How much does Sushil get? 60 rupees is what Sushil gets. He will not get the payment hourly. He'll be getting the payment per unit which you're producing. That's piece rate. So that's fine, right? Okay. So I think whatever has been taught till now is very, very clear to everybody. I would like to end my session today. I'd like to end my session today by talking about how to calculate efficiency, capacity, ratios primarily. Right? That's the last thing which I would like to do. Let me see if anybody has any doubt. Everybody has calculated correct. Brilliant. Ria, same answer, not in, I don't know. Abhishek, no question. Yes, ma'am, I got it. Ma'am, till now, costing is not tough, contrary to what I have heard about it. Thanks to teachers like you. Thank you so much. Charu, tell me the answer in Christina's case. I think as per Halsey, it was 10 rupees. And as far as Rowan is concerned, it was 10.66. Okay. Now, thank you, Shivani, for putting in the answer. Now, so now, this is the last thing which I'm going to tell you today, and that's it, because I think we have covered up lots and lots of concepts. Right? But I hope the session wasn't heavy. You have followed everything, right? Okay, and we did so many questions, right? Okay, so I've kept you on toes. Don't hate me for that. Okay, now, efficiency. What do you call as efficiency? Efficiency is if a person does better than what he was supposed to do. For example, if in the previous question we say it takes 10 minutes to produce a good, it takes 10 minutes to produce a good, right? And a person works for 8 hours. So technically, maximum units a person can produce can be how many? Maximum units a person can produce can be how many? It can be 8 into 6, because 10 minutes it takes to produce 1 unit. So that means in 1 hour, you can produce 6 units. So 8 into 6, 48 units is maximum you can produce. So if you produce 48 units, we say, oh, you are optimum. You are at the optimum, right? If you produce lesser than this, or if you produce more than this, we say, if you produce lesser than this, we say, oh, you are inefficient. If you produce more than this, we say, oh, you are efficient. That's exactly what efficiency ratio means. So for example, if I say Sushil produced 60 units. So technically, what should have been the allowed time to him? Allowed time to him should have been 10 hours. But he actually worked for how many hours? He actually worked for 8 hours. So don't you think he's efficient? Yes, he's efficient. So how do I find this out? Efficiency ratio means standard hours divided by actual hours into 100. So for Sushil, the standard hours were 10. Actual hours were 8 into 100%. So Sushil is efficient, yes, 10 divided by 8 into 100. His efficiency is 125%. Anybody need out? Okay. Charu ma'am, आपने round off किया है hours in case of Christina? No, I never did round off. Christina produced how many units? Christina produced 72 units, Charu. So how many hours Christina would have required? 72 divided by 6, 12 hours. So how many hours did Christina save? Christina saved 4 hours. So I did not round off anything, Charu. In the previous question, it required 1 unit required 10 minutes. So in 1 hour, we could produce 6 units. And everybody was working for 8 hours. Christina produced 72 units. So technically, Christina should have taken up how many hours? It should have been 72 divided by 6, should have been 12 hours. Okay. Yes, Sushil, it does apply. Okay. Okay. So I hope, have you understood efficiency? Yes. So if he is efficient, can we calculate the efficiency of Christina? Yes, Christina produced 72 units. Standard time for her should have been 72 divided by 6, 12 hours. So her efficiency is what? 12 divided by 8 into 100. This is the efficiency of Christina. So is efficiency ratio clear to everybody? Yes? Is efficiency ratio clear to everybody? So you can say efficiency is equal to standard hours divided by actual hours into 100. Now, if I had to do the same thing in terms of units, how will I do it? Sushil produced how many units? Sushil produced 60 units. But how many hours did Sushil work? Sushil worked for 8 hours. So actually, standard units, which Sushil should have produced, should have been how much? 8 into 6, 48 units. So if you want to calculate efficiency, if units are given, your formula will be actual output divided by standard output. You get out with the same answer. So which is 60 divided by 48 into 100. This gives you the same efficiency, which is 125%. So am I good? So if I reiterate, efficiency, if you calculate in terms of hours, it will be standard hours divided by actual hours. But if you'll do it as far as output is concerned, it will be actual output divided by standard output. Let's do it for Christina. Standard hours for Christina was 12. Actual hours were 8 into 100. So it was 150%. If you wanted to do it by output, you would have done what? Christina also worked for 8 hours. So Christina should have produced only 48 units. But she actually produced 72 units. I hope I am clear. Okay. So on this note, guys, I would like to put an end to my session. So today we discussed direct labor, indirect labor, idle time, overtime, incentive schemes, and yes, the efficiency ratio. So in my next class, I'll be talking about the capacity ratio, and I would be talking about the labor turnover, right? Discussing a little bit of theory, turning the pages of ICAI material. Thank you so much for being such brilliant students and, cooperating and listening to me. It really means a lot when you have got good students who are actually following you. So thank you so much. Have a great evening. It's already 8:30. Enjoy yourself. Yeah. See you on 27th. Thank you so much. I'm leaving the meeting, Aizazji.